Well, hello there. Today we're going to talk about cardio from A to Z. That I've done videos on cardio in the past, but it's never been a total comprehensive cardio encyclopedia. It's one of the most confusing and overused and understood aspects of fitness. And so I'm here at Pro's Gym, cardio equipment behind me of a plethora of different types. And I'm going to do one giant video, but I'm going to break it into subsections for people with ADD. So section 1, the meaning of cardio. A lot of people misunderstand what the word cardio means. Cardio means heart. So if it's not a heart rate of over 80% of your maximum heart rate, it's not really cardio. So a lot of people are working in what they call the heart fat loss zone. And the misconception is that you're burning more fat in the fat loss zone than you are in higher intensity cardio zones. The truth of the matter is, it's the percentage of your calories from fat is greatest, the lower your heart rate. Now, this is a very confusing subject, so I want to go over it from A to Z just in this meaning video. And a lot of you are like, I don't want to watch the introductory video, Todd. It's important that you understand what the words mean, so when we get to later videos, they make sense. So, the functional heart rate is like a 220 minus your age is your theoretical maximum heart rate. So if you're 40 years old, then it means 220 minus 40 is 180 is your theoretical maximum heart rate. So we subtract 20%, 36, you end up getting a 144 is your cardio zone. 60% of your maximum rate is another 36% off that. So approximately 118 is your fat loss zone. So at 118 heart rate, you're going to be burning about 50% of your calories from fat. Whereas at a 144 heart rate, you're going to be burning maybe 10% of your calories from fat. But you burn more calories, and what they've deduced and concluded through science is that it's the total amount of calories burnt over the course of the day determines how much fat you lose. So if you burnt 2,500 calories and you only ate 2,000 calories, that means you burnt a fifth of a pound of fat. Therefore, sticking to the heart fat loss zone is not going to burn as much fat, because if you only burn 2,300 calories, that means that the difference in calories is 300, not 500. So over the course of the day, you burnt less fat. The functional heart rate, we talked about that. Value of cardio, heart fat burning zone versus total, we talked about that. And fat loss zone versus heart health. The only thing left for this meaning of cardio video to conclude is the value of cardio or muscle building. If you doing 2 on a step mill has a 160 heart rate, and then you do cardio in the cardio zone of the 80% heart rate, like a 144 or higher, to build up your heart health, so that now you can do the step mill at an 8 and still only have a 160 heart rate, you've made your heart stronger. So therefore, when you do legs, if your heart rate's 130, not 170, it's a lower heart rate. So a lower percentage of energy comes from glycogen. Therefore, a greater percent comes from fat. So once you're less likely to deplete your glycogen tanks, you're less likely to burn muscle. So I'm going to say it a different way. The stronger your heart is, the less of your muscle gets burned when you do legs. So it's important to do cardio to develop your heart health. Thank you. Episode 2 of the cardio series is types of cardio. There's 2 basic types of cardio that you really have to be concerned with. LISS and HIIT. LISS is low intensity steady state cardio. HIIT is high intensity interval training. So low intensity steady state cardio is better early in the morning, because if you were to do HIIT training on an empty, then you might deplete your glycogen so heavily that you're going to end up burning muscle, which you never want to do, because burning muscle permanently depletes your metabolism and is contradictory to your fat loss goals long term. That another time you may want to consider LISS is pre-training, because Some believe that LIS, or activating a fat-burning pathway, impedes a muscle-building pathway. That if you utilize HIIT training, you can activate anabolic response because it's an alternating of high intensity and low intensity. Therefore, HIIT pre-training activates muscle building machinery at the cellular level, and HIIT post-training perpetuates that muscle building machinery. But also you could do either LIS or HIIT before bed because a number of different reasons, one of which is you've been eating all day, so you're unlikely to go so low in the tank that you tap into muscle. The only time you don't want to do HIIT is usually first thing in the morning. Now, one way around that is to use Battle Mead Intra. Battle Mead Intra would be designed to push all blood sugar into the muscles and has some amino acids like glutamine to protect against muscle catabolism, so that one scoop of Battle Mead Intra might protect your muscles during fasted HIIT training. Personally, I like LIS fasted, HIIT pre-training, HIIT post-training, and I usually would do LIS before bed. If I do HIIT before bed, I tend to work myself up and I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. That's if I'm doing all 4 time slots for cardio. And the time slots of cardio is going to be in episode 4 of this series. So to reiterate, LIS is low intensity steady state cardio. So it's that fat burning zone, that 60% of maximum heart rate we discussed earlier. So if you're 40, it'd be about 118 or less heart rate. HIIT is an interval of as hard as you can for 15 to 30 seconds, and then 2 to 3 times that duration. So I like to do the bike 15 seconds really hard, 45 seconds light, or I'll do the arc trainer 30 seconds really hard, a minute light. Or if you're young and healthy and you're not worried about pulling a hamstring or a calf, you could sprint outside for 30 seconds or 20 seconds and then walk for 40 seconds to 60 seconds. One other way of doing it, if you're really lazy and you've got a long driveway, is sprint to your end of your driveway where your mailbox is, walk back to your door. Sprint to your mailbox, walk to your door. That's like a plethora of different ways to squeeze in cardio. One thing I used to do when I was on labor and delivery is I used to sprint up the stairs, walk down the stairs. Sprint up the stairs, walk down the stairs, and I would have one of the nurses page me when the girl reached 3 centimeters. Then I would just run, deliver the baby, and go back to my cardio. So that's basically types of cardio in a nutshell. Episode 3 of the cardio series is how long to do cardio. Obviously that depends on your goals. I would say most people when they do cardio, it's for the goal of fat loss. But it's easier to deal with the muscle building crowd first and foremost. So muscle building crowd, I would suggest you do a little bit of cardio, maybe 10 minutes of stairs or 10-minute arc trainer, something to get your heart rate up before you lift. And then if you have to do more cardio, HIIT training post weights is the easiest. It's easier than making 2 trips to the gym. If you like to do cardio in a separate time of day, one thing I would like to do is after getting 1 meal in, go to the gym, do 15 minutes on the bike of HIIT, 5 minutes of stairs, and then 10 minutes of the treadmill, or I would do just 20 minutes of arc trainer and 10 minutes of treadmill. Those are, basically, there is a study that shows any cardio that's intense, over 30 minutes, releases enough of a cortisol response to where you lose muscle tissue. So if you're trying to build muscle, it's ridiculous to actually work so hard that you lose muscle. So therefore, if your goal is to build muscle, you don't do cardio for more than 30 minutes at a time. Now that doesn't mean you couldn't do cardio multiple times a day for 30 minutes, which is what most of us do pre-contest, is we'll do either 30 minutes fasted or get a protein-based egg white meal in and do 30 minutes. Then go to the gym later, do 10 minutes warm up, do our weights, do 15 to 20 minutes cool down, and then a couple hours later, do another 30 minutes of cardio before bed, so that over the course of the day we squeezed in 90 minutes, but we never did cardio for more than 10 to 30 minutes at a time. Now, if your goal is fat loss and you don't give a fuck about what you look like or long-term health, and you're just stubbornly plodding away at the treadmill, then you could theoretically do cardio for longer than 30 minutes. You could do even an hour or 2 hours, but that's pointless because I can burn more calories on 25 minutes of a side back arc than just about anyone I know who does 2 hours of slow, monotonous, steady state cardio. That when we've stated in episode 1, it's really just a calories game. And the point is of cardio is to get as much calories burnt in the shortest amount of time possible, because the harder and heavier you do your cardio, the stronger your heart gets, the less muscle you burn long term. The first couple sessions, maybe you'll burn muscle because your heart's out of shape. So your heart rate gets up so high, you release adrenaline and it eats the muscle. That's why there's things like HMB and Wrath of the Valkyrie to protect your muscles against catabolism and to help transport fat, not glycogen, through L-carnitine. I designed Wrath to help you keep your muscle while doing cardio. So in summation, if you're trying to build muscle, 10 minutes of a warm-up cardio, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of HIIT cardio post-training. If you're trying to lose fat, you can get up to 4 time slots in a day, fasted or after one protein-only meal, pre-weights, post-weights, and before bed, after your last carbs. Those would be the 4 time slots. So episode 4 of the cardio series is when to do the cardio. So fasted cardio, 30 minutes in the morning is what's popular. And if you're not worried about burning muscle, that's fine. If you're doing low intensity, steady state cardio, that's fine. If you're gonna do fasted HIIT, I suggest that you have a scoop of Battle Mead Intra and Wrath of the Valkyrie, because those two are designed to protect your muscles against catabolism while doing high intensity training in a low carb state. Pre-training, studies have shown a very small amount, like 5 to 8 minutes of HIIT training, will activate muscle protein synthesis so that when you hit the weights, you're motivated, you're on point, you're ready to go, and the muscles have started synthesizing, rather than starting a fat burning pathway, which is contradictory machinery to muscle protein synthesis. Same thing with post-training. A lot of people like to do steady state cardio post-training. That slows down muscle growth. You're better off doing HIIT training post-training. Even if your HIIT's pathetic, it's an alternating of anabolic to rest, so that because you're doing it hard as you can, then something easy, hard as you can, something easy. The body doesn't know the difference between a weightlifting set and a rest period and HIIT cardio. Whereas it starts training the fibers to go from white to red, to go from strength fibers to endurance fibers, to do lists, to do steady state cardio. HIIT cardio trains the fibers to go from red to white. Also, the T2 in the Wrath of the Valkyrie is supposed to help with conversion of red to white. Before bed, that basically after your last carbs, you can burn off excess energy that's not going to be used for muscle protein synthesis if you do a little bit of list cardio before bed. 20 to 40 minutes of list before bed should be plenty to get the job done. HIIT cardio might work you up and spaz you out, and you may not be able to go to bed. There's a certain form of cardio you may be thinking of that would be an exception to that. I can't get into that because this is now a family channel. Anyway, stay tuned for episode 5 in the Everything You Need to Know About Cardio series is fat loss and cardio. So as I mentioned in episode 1, that big misconception is that fatty acid oxidation is more important than total calories. That doing list cardio burns more fat, or doing the fat burning zone burns more fat than the cardio building zone or HIIT cardio, because a greater percentage of the energy during the cardio comes from fat. But if you burn more calories total, whether the HIIT burns more calories and the EPOC from the HIIT, that's the excessive post-oxygen consumption, burns more calories, then you burn more calories. So assuming it's both, you got 2 identical twins, Frida and Freya. And Frida's doing a 2,000 calories diet and Freya's doing a 2,000 calorie diet. And Frida's doing 15 minutes of HIIT in the morning, and just 15 minutes of HIIT, period, for her cardio on cardio day. And Freya's doing 30-minute of lifts. And let's say the energy, the calories burnt in the HIIT is equal. It's 200 calories in both parties. The EPOC created by the HIIT is an additional 50 calories. She burned more calories. she's burning more fat over the month than Freya. It doesn't matter that most of those calories came from fat in Freya from the list, and most of those calories came from carbohydrates from the hit in Frida. The point isn't where they come from at the time, it's the total amount burnt over the day. Now, the L-carnitine found in many of the Valhalla Labs products will help mitigate that glycogen burning and focus on fat burning. So, it's all supplements aside, it doesn't matter which cardio you do for fat burning or fat loss, it is just about how many calories you actually burn. And the thing is, if you absolutely detest one form of cardio and you love the other, do the one you love because you'll do it. That's the most important thing, is you'll do it. I used to hate the arc trainer because it was so much work, but when you're close to show and your whole body hurts, the arc trainer is easier on your joints than the stair mill, the bike, or the treadmill even. So now I'm in love with the arc trainer. So the fat loss and cardio principle is that it's total calories determines fat loss. Cardio is just negative calories. HIIT is more intense and has a muscle building fraction and an epoch fraction, whereas LISS is literally just negative calories. It's literally like I did 200 calories of LISS, I might as well have just eaten 2 less Oreos. And it's the same thing. It's no athletic benefit whatsoever to LISS, but it does wear down your joints and does make you overall fatigued and tired and will negatively influence your leg day. And because there's no heart health benefits to LISS, you won't have an increased heart capacity, so your leg training will be that much harder and you'll lose that much more muscle on leg training. Ipso facto, your metabolism will go down and you'll lose muscle over time and gain fat back after you stop dieting. So no matter what, pretty much HIIT's always gonna be better. And if you're worried about the joint thing, that's where the arc trainer comes in handy. Next episode is episode 6, cardio equipment, where I evaluate each piece of cardio equipment. And I'm sure you've picked up on this fact that I'm being redundant with some of this material because not everyone's gonna watch all 6 videos in order. And some people need to hear it more than once. They don't just have a retentive memory and absorb everything the first time they hear it. They need to hear it 3 times. Thanks for being patient. Hello, this is episode 6 of the Everything You Need to Know About Cardio series, cardio equipment. This is where I basically go over the different pieces of cardio equipment and discuss which my favorite ones are from best to worst. All right, so there's different parameters that one might want to consider. It's like certain type of cardio equipment's better for certain things than others. The overall best piece of cardio equipment, in my opinion, is the Cybex Arc Trainer. You'll find it at Planet Fitness and a lot of the more modern gyms. It's kind of like an elliptical, but you can change the settings so that it has the angle of a stepper. So you get the benefits on quads or glutes or calves depending on where you set it. And then you have an intensity meter of 1 to 100. So it's very easy to do HIIT cardio on. You just go from 50 to 20, 30 seconds at 50, a minute at 20. And you can, there's no limit. The faster you pedal like a bike, the faster it goes. It's not like a Stairmaster or a treadmill where it's locked into a certain speed and you have to adjust the speed. You adjust the intensity, you determine the speed. One of the benefits of it is because it's a gliding motion like an elliptical, it doesn't wear down your joints. I find that my feet fall apart on a treadmill. My hips seem to break down on a stair mill. A lot of people have issues with their knees if they use a bike. Plus, a bike's so hard to actually get any work done. You have to pedal your ass off to burn any calories at all. You burn the most calories on the Cybex Arc, more than the stairs, but it's easier on the joints than the stairs. Also, a lot of women will notice that their quads get built up and their butt disappears if they're not concentrating, squeezing their glutes while using the stairs. You just adjust the height setting on the Cybex Arc to wherever it passively targets your glutes, that's where you leave it. For guys, wherever it passively targets your quads, that's where you leave it. I like a 15 through 20 on height, and I like a 20 through 40 on intensity. That's me. And then if I start listening to something really intense, it takes care of it for me. Other forms of cardio equipment that you might want to consider. Not everyone has access to a Cybex Arc. So this is where I come up with my little way of doing things. I like to do 15 minutes of HIIT on a bike, Then I like to do 5 minutes on the stairs and squeeze my glutes and quads. Girls, I wouldn't squeeze your quads, I would just squeeze your glutes. And then when I go to the treadmill, I keep my knees almost locked, so I'm like goose stepping. You might have to Google goose stepping. And you're basically finding your hamstring glute tie-in. And between those three forms of cardio equipment, you never really overtrain. You never exhaust one joint, you never exhaust your feet. So 15 minutes of the bike hit, so 15 seconds to every minute I do at a setting 16, and then 45 seconds I do on a setting 8. And I try to keep my RPM at 100. Then I go do the stairs at a low setting and squeeze my glutes and quads for 5 minutes. Then I do the treadmill and try to drag my heels and fire my glutes for 10 minutes. Thank you, and that's episode 6. This concludes the Everything You Need to Know About Cardio series.